Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It is opening day at Saratoga, the first graded stakes race of the meet for two-year-old fillies. It is the Grade 3 Schuylerville. It's race number 8 at the Spa on Thursday. $150,000 is the purse. Speaking of 150, check out this deal with DRF Bets when you subscribe for a new DRF Bets account. $150 in risk-free wagers. Let's meet the field of juvenile fillies looking for that all-important black type in the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes. Top Pletcher is always going to be involved in these races, Mike. Let's begin with the number 2 Integral. Now, Integral ran in a 4.5 furlong race at Gulfstream Park. We don't assign buyers speed figures for that race. I thought she was pretty impressive, just blasting off to the front, showing big speed and kept right on going. The sixth-place finisher came back to earn a 57 buyer and a maiden claimer, so it doesn't really tell me much about the horses that she faced in that race, but she's got a nice win-early pedigree. She's by Algorithms out of a half to Bobby Abu Dhabi, a graded stakes winning sprinter.
I mean, she looked fine to me winning that first race. As you mentioned, she just was faster than those horses early. She got right to the lead. Nobody could challenge her, and she was much the best at the end. The horses, for the most part, everybody that she beat has run back out of that race. I don't think they necessarily flattered her performance, but I don't know what that really means either, Dan. If this horse can handle the stretch out from 4.5 to 6, and that's a pretty big question. Maybe what'll separate these horses more than anything else is the 6 furlongs. I don't see why she can't be a contender in this race.
Todd also has the 9 Kiss the Girl, a $210,000 yearling purchase, who debuted as a heavy favorite and was a winner at Belmont on June the 12th. Now, I didn't think she beat much in that race, and I also thought she just got a great trip up close to kind of a moderate pace, and then when she was asked in the lane, she pulled away. Good attack outside post position. Good to see Johnny V back aboard. This filly still has some things to prove.
Yeah, I mean, I liked her debut well enough. I like that she's drawn outside. If nothing else, based on that debut run, the horse that she wound up running down at the end, Sweet Kisses, that horse had speed. So this horse did have to race that horse for a little while. It's not like this horse got loose on the lead and won for fun. She had to do a little bit of work. She managed to do it. She was clear under the wire. I thought she ran fine. I think she has to improve to beat this field.
As we see from the Timeform US pace projector, it is a red bar scenario. Timeform US believes the pace will be fast and that the number 1 Shippy will assume front-running tactics under Jose Ortiz. I made this horse an out-of-the-gate horse swatch following her 87 buyer debut at Laurel, where she won by 11 lengths, and she was no secret. She was 2-5 that day. She did everything right. She sat off another horse. She blew to the front on the turn, and she just widened. The problem is that was kind of a weak field. Now, she's obviously been privately purchased since that race. This is a much tougher spot, but boy, she runs close to that 87. She's going to be real tough.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she looked awful good to me winning first time out. I don't want to put too much stock in the buyer speed figures these horses have earned. They're all basically have just 1 star behind them. I don't really care about the figures, but this horse was visually impressive. As you mentioned, she was beaten to the lead in there. It did not phase her, and she won for fun. The rail draw is no bargain for Dan, but based on the acceleration she showed first time out, it may not be a problem for this horse.
Trainer O'Neill also has the number 5 Comical, one of the better bred horses in this race. This is a daughter of Into Mischief. The dam was stakes placed at a mile, and the dam's a full sister to Travers winner Colonel John. And despite the pedigree indicating that maybe she wanted a little bit more distance, she just aired in her debut at Santa Anita. Now, Doug O'Neill is kind of the Wesley Ward at Keeneland in those 4.5 furlong Santa Anita races. But Doug told Dave Grenning in the advance for this race, he's been spotting her here ever since that debut. He wanted to run her in the Schuylerville.
I can't argue with Doug O'Neill's assessment of her debut. I thought she ran great in there. She had good speed in that race. She took on a little bit of a challenge. The runner-up in that race was the favorite, a Hollendorfer first. So that horse was the favorite. She just turned that horse away, and I love the way she finished the race off. It was a big performance. Now, Golden Star Lady came back and did not flatter that performance. She did not run well in her next start, but I don't know what that means. I know that this horse ran well first time out, and she's bred to get better as things go on, and I'm taking it as a good sign that these connections decide to ship across country to run into greatest stakes in her second start.
Javier Castellano takes the mount for O'Neill. Mark Cassie's had good success over the last few years with these kind of horses, and the number 6 Lady Fatima fits the bill as a last out maiden winner going turf to dirt. Here's the formulator fact over the past 2 years. 4 for 11, a $3.65 ROI. This filly's bred for dirt. She's by Bodemeister out of a half to Cairo Prince. The debut on the main track, let's be honest, it wasn't great, but it was only 4.5 at Aqueduct. She improved it at Belmont on the turf last time out. Maybe if this pace falls apart Lady Fatima makes a run. Dylan Davis on this 2-year-old.
Yeah, she's the one that you want to be looking out for late. If the pace gets fast, and if some of these fillies struggle with the stretch out to 6 furlongs, this one will be running at the end. Her career debut, simply to me, it was just a case of she didn't have the speed. She was outpaced in that race. She was trying to run on all the way through the stretch. That race was too short and not coming back for her. Last time, she did spin the same thing. She was just staying on all through the stretch, but she finished very gamely to get up. She'll be running at the end of this race.
The 8 Aurelia Garland goes out for 2-year-old Guru Wesley Ward. This filly, no surprise in her debut, bet down to 75 cents to the dollar, won like an odds-on favorite should. The second dam won the grade 2 Alcibiades, so this is an early family. She's got another good outside stalking post position here, and she should be up close to the pace when the real racing begins.
Yeah, plenty to like about this filly for sure. I think she's a major contender in here. I wonder if this has been the plan for her. It's been 70 days since that debut. Maybe Ward was just waiting for the graded stakes race to run her, and I don't know what the story is about that. What's interesting about her debut, Dan, is she was a little bit atypical of a Wesley Ward firster in that she wasn't fast from the gate. She broke about a half length slow. Most of his 2-year-old first-time starters are rockets from the gate. She wasn't, but she had plenty of speed. She won easy. I really liked her debut.
Tom Amos sends out the 3 His Glory, only a 50 buyer speed figure in the debut. But as you mentioned, Mike, probably worth taking these figures for very young fillies with a grain of salt. She won by 8.5 that day. And the third place finisher came back to win by 7 with a 57 buyer speed figure. That was one of 2 next out winners that His Glory defeated that day. She's going to show some speed in here. She's probably is going to be facing a much faster pace than what you saw in her career debut. But I think we'll learn a lot from her. I think she'll get better as the distances increase.
I do too. I mean, it feels like this pace is going to be so much faster that it's going to make things really hard on her. But she looks good winning her debut. I mean, she won that race very easily. Tom Amos does great work with his 2-year-olds.
Lula's Roadrunner was a very game debut winner at Parks on June the 24th. She is a Pennsylvania bred. She earned a solid enough 57 buyer and is now getting Lasix for the first time. But I feel similarly about Lula's Roadrunner as I do about His Glory. The pace is just likely to be so much faster this time around that she's going to be on a hard chase against better horses.
Yeah, she had to work pretty hard to win that race. I like that she, got into a fight and was able to prevail in there, but she's got to do a lot better than that in this race.
First-time starter taking on graded stakes company. That's the number 7, Buxom Beast. She attracts Joel Rosario for trainer Gary Contesta. She is from the first crop of the Big Beast, who is 1 for 4 with 2-year-old debut runners. This dam's been very, very productive. She's thrown 3 black type winners, including the Delta Jackpot winner, Gourmet Dinner. The works look solid. Boy, tough spot for a firster. You would think that if Gary wanted to debut this one in a tough maiden at Saratoga, he'd get a price. He must like her a lot to run her in the Schuylerville.
That's exactly how I looked at her. I mean, they must really like her if they're going to debut her in this race. It's such a tough spot. She's just not my kind of horse. But obviously they like her. They paid good money for her. As you mentioned, she's got the pedigree. There are things to like that. We'll see how much money she takes.
Take a look at our top selections for the grade 3 Schuylerville. Mike, where are you heading?
I put O'Neill's other filly on top, I guess. I put Comical on top. I just really liked her debut, and I like what they're doing with her. I went with O'Neill over O'Neill, 5-1, and I put Wesley Ward's filly, Aurelia Garland, 3rd.
Comical is my 3rd selection. I want to use her in multis. Listen, I like Chippy's debut. I touted her on out of the gate. I feel like I got to stick with her here. I'm a little bit worried about the price. I think she's going to get hammered off of that buyer speed figure of 87 in her debut. But I went 1, 8, 5, and 9 in the grade 3 Schuylerville, one of 2 graded stakes races on opening day at Saratoga on Thursday. And again, get involved with a DRF Bets account and the $150 in risk-free wagers. Approximate post time for the Schuylerville, 5:15 Eastern. Good luck.